right, guys, let's get started. Take a comfortable seat. Allow yourself to take a moment to settle in for this practice. Maybe close the eyes or turn your gaze low. And just take in the breath. I chose the inspiration or the mantra for this month really for today, Election Day. Just like each and every day, a reminder that we have the choice to step into this moment with the feelings and the thoughts that we choose. My energy creates my reality. What I focus on is what I will manifest. Drop the chin down to the chest and let your ears just roll from side to side like little half moon shapes. Creating an easeful energy of release here right from the beginning. And then keep the right ear over towards the right shoulder. Walk the opposite hand out to the side, fingertips touching the ground or just a little bit lifted. Take the hand on top of the opposite ear and give it a little bit of a length. Add only the pressure, only the stretch that works best for you. Bring both hands to the thighs, chin to the chest, and go to the second side. Left ear over towards the left shoulder, walk the fingertips out. And then left hand on top of the right ear, give it a little bit of a tug out to the side. And bring it back in, chin down to the chest. Lift the head, open your eyes. Okay, come on over to all fours. And in all fours, as always, hands under our shoulders, knees right underneath the hips. And do cat and cow, move the spine back and forth. Slow it down in the beginning. Try to notice each incremental little change. And then maybe it becomes a little bit faster, more fluid. It's all up to you. Put your energy, your mind, your movement where it works. From cat and cow, change to downward facing dog. Tuck the toes and lift the hips. Here in down dog, feel free to pedal the feet a little bit, shake out the head, wag the hips from side to side, any movement that feels best as we open. Evenly press the hands down and forward as you lift the hips high. Press the thighs back and the heels down towards the earth. Full body stretch. And then take a nice bend in the knees and slowly walk to the front of your mat. Take several little steps there. And once you're at the front, keep your feet about hip distance apart. Keep the knees bent. Stay in a forward fold. Ragdoll position. Let the hands hang or hold on to the elbows. Sway a little bit from side to side. And then nice and slow, roll on up to standing. Like one vertebrae at a time. Roll the shoulders up and back. And roll the shoulders forward and down. Here at the top of the mat, stand in your mountain pose. So where do you feel most steady, most full? From that power of mountain pose, lift the arms up towards the sky. We call this one summit. And then exhale, forward fold, touch down to the ground. Half lift, press the hands onto your shins or thighs and extend from the hips to the head. And step back to plank position, top of our push-up. Hold plank here. So as you look down at the hands, make sure they're still shoulder distance apart. Spread the fingers nice and wide so you get to grip underneath each finger pad. Look a little forward rather than straight down now. Extend the line. Remember to be strong in your legs. Squeeze the glutes, lengthen the tailbone, tone the belly. You're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lie flat down onto the mat. Reach your hands behind you. Turn the palms up to the sky. Keep the hands open or interlace behind your back and lift everything that you can up away from the mat. Lift, lift, lift. Stretch. And then lower it all down. Press back to child's pose, hips to the heels. Take a breath here. Then change to downward facing dog. Tuck the toes, lift the hips. Look in between the hands and step your right foot all the way forward to a low lunge. It might take a few steps to get it there. If it swings in one step, great. If you need a few more, great. Knee over ankle, fingertips in line with our toes. And then lift your hips high enough that your back leg is straight. Really firm the muscles of the back leg. And add a twist, right arm to the sky. Bring the right hand to the inside of your foot. Spin the back heel down, so 2 flat feet. Down dog lunge, walk your hands out towards that front left corner of the mat. Actively press your feet down and away from one another. Try to lengthen in the spine like we do in down dog. Hands can walk a little more to the left to make this easier, more doable in the hips in particular. Spend one more breath there. And then walk it back in around the front leg. We've got one more thing here. Come upright in the torso and lift the arms to the sky. Still trying to keep that back leg straight, strong. Press through the heel. Lower the hands around the front foot. Step back to plank. Stay in high plank or add good old-fashioned push-up, down and up, whether you're on your toes or on the knees for that. And then everyone downward facing dog. Big breath in and release it out. Step the left foot forward to your low lunge, again taking the time to get the full length, full stride there. No rush. And then add your twist, left hand to the sky. Good, place the hand to the inside of your foot. Spin the back heel down. Walk your hands out towards the front corner or further to the right. Think warrior 2 in the legs. Downward facing dog from the hands to the hips here. And then walk it back into your low lunge. Pick up your back heel. Once there, steady yourself to lift the torso straight up and down for high lunge, arms to the sky, big full reach. Lower the hands around the front foot, step back to plank. Hold plank or add the push-up, down and up, and everyone to downward facing dog. Here, bend your knees and walk your hands backwards to your feet. Rise up halfway, get that long extension, tone in the belly, and then fold over. Stand up, reach the arms all the way to the sky, and palms together, center the chest. 2 breaths here, take it in, let it go. Breathe into intention, and then let it release. Okay, as you drop the hands back down, let's just walk back to the front end of our yoga mat. And start over. Lift the arms up to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Step back to plank. This is our longer hold of plank here. Think long spine. One sloping line from the head back to the heels. Stay here. Breathe here. Just for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then lower flat down to the belly. Here, I want you to take hands behind your head. Behind your head. Point the elbows out to the side. Now, to make this more doable, point the elbows more forward. And then everything lifts up. As much as it works, elbows out to the side. Hands don't have to be touching the head. They're just placeholders there. Lift, lift, lift. Then exhale, lower flat down, press back to child's pose. Give yourself a full breath in child's pose. And then change to downward facing dog. Tuck the toes, lift the hips. Moving into our lunge series, take the right foot forward into that low lunge. Walk your hands up to your front thigh. And now hook your left elbow to the outside of the right thigh in a twist. Sometimes that feels a little confining. You can be higher up in the twist. Simply up to you. Use the energy. What does the pose create? In a way that works. Press your top hand into the bottom hand and point your right elbow more up to the sky. On the next breath, untwist. Come all the way upright in the torso. Again, arms to the sky. So we've got this upright big lunge. And then lower the hands, step back to plank. Do the push-up. Downward facing dog. Second side, step your left foot forward. Bring the hands just to your front thigh so you stay pretty forward in the torso. And that helps to get into that deeper twist. Right elbow to the outside of the knee here. And maybe it takes a little time, kind of dig it in. Be mindful that it's still early in the practice, early in the day. Be good to yourself through the breath and the twist. Here, inhale as you untwist. Find your balance right in the center. Utilize that back leg for support. Come upright in the torso and arms to the sky. Kind of a tricky unfolding there. And then hands down, either side of the front foot. Step back to plank. Push up. Downward facing dog. And just like before, a little bend in the knees, walk yourself backwards to your feet. Half lift, extend from the hips out to the head. Fold over. And then stand all the way up, reach the arms to the sky. And bring palms together, center of the chest. Take a moment, take a couple of breaths. Notice how the heart rate's lifting a little bit, the warmth that courses through the body. Good stuff. Okay. And then release the hands, give the whole body a little bit of a shake as we shift here into our standing poses. So we're going to take a stance in the center of the mat and then just step nice and wide. Look down, make sure your toes are pointed straight ahead, the heels straight back. And then extend your arms nice and wide out in either direction like a big star. Turn the right toes out. And then hinge from the hip to reach as far as you can to the right. This is triangle pose. Lower the right hand down to the inside of your foot and the top arm up to the sky. For today, keep looking down at the bottom hand. And then make this little adjustment, more tone in the belly, and bring your hand to your shin rather than the ground. It'll cause you to be a little bit more controlled in the abdomen. And then one more time, a shift, you take your hand behind your leg, and it might be in space or all the way down to the mat. Causes more opening across the chest. Next breath, stand all the way up and flip the feet. Okay, squeeze the inner thighs as though they're squeezing in towards each other, but the feet are always trying to press down and away from one another. Those two opposing actions help to keep us really safe in the pose. Reach as far as you can to the left now, and take the hand to the inside of the leg, top arm to the sky. And again, little changes, more tone in the belly, lift higher, and take the hand to the shin. And then keeping that same abdomen in strength, take the hand just behind your leg a little bit. Notice the weight and the change that has to happen in those little movements. And then come all the way up. Turn the toes parallel to one another and step or jump all the way into the center. We'll go right back to where we came from, fingertips together, step or jump out. And again, turn the right foot out, first side. This time, bend the right knee like warrior two, gaze out over the front fingertips. Try to keep the shoulders stacked right over the hips here. And then for side angle, it's moving the whole torso, kind of like you did in triangle pose. Reach as far as you can to the right, and then set the elbow down to the knee, and take the top arm palm down overhead. And if you're looking down the whole time, you're gonna get that long stretch on the top side of the body. And then we challenge ourselves by looking to the side, more opening, more back bend. Keep looking up, keep rotating into that open twist. Take the top hand now all the way to the hip and look back down to the floor. Heel toe your left foot towards the right side into a shorter stance. Keep doing that until you can reach your bottom hand to the ground. Shift all of your weight into your right foot, right hand, and lift your left leg up for half moon. Top hand to the sky. Anytime you're in half moon, the bottom hand could be lifted underneath a stack of books or a yoga block, or just bend your knee to make it easier for the hand to come down to the ground. Either way. If your hamstrings allow, fingertips to the floor and a straight leg. I want you to do that slow walk out of the pose. Come down to a shorter stance, and then heel toe, your back foot into the full length. Come all the way through to side angle pose, and up to warrior two. Straighten the right leg and turn the toes to the second side. Let's give it a go here. Bend the left knee a lot into warrior two. Again, hinge from the hips so you're reaching as far as you can to the left, and then elbow down to the knee. Take the top hand palm down overhead and stretch. Bring the torso to the side or even twist so that you're looking up towards the sky here. And then kind of backing down from that, untwist so you're looking at your left leg, and bring your right hand to your waist. Heel toe the back foot in so you get this more narrow stance until you have room to reach the bottom hand down to the floor underneath the height of a block. Keep shifting your weight into the left leg, left hand, so that you can lift the right leg off of the ground. Make your bottom leg only as straight as it works. Much like in that side angle pose, only open and twist the torso to the side or eye gaze to the sky if it works. Looking for how to use our energy through this practice. And then top hand to the waist, look down if you had looked away. As you drop the lifted leg, slow again, heel toe out until you find your way all the way back into side angle pose. Elbow to the knee, top arm overhead. As if you'd been there the whole time. Lift up to warrior two. Straighten the leg, turn the toes parallel to each other, fingertips touch, step or jump all the way in. Give it a shake. Nice work. Come stand at the top of our yoga mat. Little more balance work to go. Lift the arms up to the sky, bend both knees, sit down like you're in a chair. In this chair, torso as upright as possible. As you do that, take the arms higher up. You should feel it in your upper back. Try to give a little shake in the head so you're not too confined in head, neck, and shoulders. If it feels too tight, arms just more forward. And then go a little bit lower in the legs. Can you sit just a little bit lower? Looking good. Bring the hands to the hips so you don't have to worry about them for a moment, and tilt so that your torso is all the way parallel to the floor now. You're still staying seated in the feet, in the legs, and tap your left foot back behind you. Lift the left leg like you did in half moon pose. Hips stay square this time though. Arms stay at your hips or reach them back behind you. If your hands are back behind you and you want even one more bit of challenge, take them out in front of you. You should be feeling that steady standing leg. Push down through your big toe. Keep with a deep knee bend. Hands drop back to our waist. 2 feet together, full chair pose. Arms more vertical. Stand all the way up. Exhale, sit back down. Nice and slow, steady. Second side here as well. Take the hands to the hips. Bring the torso more towards parallel to the ground. Cinch up, strong in the belly. Shift your weight enough to the left that you can tap your right foot behind you. Awesome hip stability and strengthening here. We're going for that stability. Lift the right leg up. Add the hands back first. They stay there or travel out to the front. Try to keep the hips as square as you can, so right hip traveling down towards the floor. Bring it all back into your chair pose. Stand up. Exhale, forward fold. Make all 10 fingers touch the ground, and then make your legs as straight as they'll go. Stay here, breathe here, take it all in. And then keeping your right foot forward, step your left foot back into a low lunge. And bring both hands to the inside of your foot. We've been here a bit. Heel toe your right foot out to the side so you give yourself even a little bit more space. And then for today, go ahead and turn your right foot and knee out about 30 degrees. So it's going to give us a little bit more opening to our inner thigh here. Keeping that, go down to flat palms, bend at the elbows, go all the way down to the forearms if accessible. In this version of Humble Warrior, keep the back knee lifted if at all able. And think like plank pose in the torso and look forward past the hands rather than rounding the back and looking down. Walk back up to the hands and now lower the left knee to the ground. Good. Can you imagine squeezing your inner thighs towards each other, even here as you press your feet down and away from one another? So it's that push and pull that keeps us steady. Twisted monkey. Bring your weight onto your left hand, look over your right shoulder. Pull your back heel in to add a quad stretch. You can hold on to it or not. And then slowly back off the quad stretch. Bring it all back into your regular low lunge and step backwards to downward facing dog. As if this is the only downward facing dog of the entire class. Really plant through the hands. Full stretch through the arms, the spine. Hips, thighs moving backwards in space, heels down towards the floor. Stay with it. Okay, and then we move on to the second side. Look forward to the hands. Take your time to bring that left foot up to your lunge, hands to the inside. Again, turn the toes and the knee about 30 degrees out. The hip turns out, everything kind of follows the same line. Knee still coming over the middle of your foot. It always helps to keep the hips a little bit higher rather than sinking down into the muscles. And then as you take the torso lower, maybe stack a block underneath the forearms to help you there. Also, just the intention of looking forward helps to give us some length. Keep the back knee lifted if it works. Stay with the pose, stay with your breath. And then walk it back up to the hands. Do set the back knee down to the ground. Right hand goes a little forward, out to the side, and then you can lean onto the weight of the right hand and look over your left shoulder. Good. Stay and work there, or add on the quad stretch. Pull the back heel in, take the hand, hold on, heel towards the outer sit bone there. Looking good. Take a couple of breaths. Again, nice slow release. Back to downward facing dog. Next breath, inhale, come forward to plank pose. Exhale, lower flat down against your yoga mat. Cobra, press down through your hands and your feet, lift the chest. Stay here for a moment. Squeeze the glutes, press through your feet. That's gonna help you in this pose. And then come about halfway down and look over your right shoulder. And then turn your gaze to the center and look over your left shoulder. Turn your gaze back to the middle and lower it flat down against the mat. Bend both knees and hold on to your feet. Spread your toes here. It makes your legs a little bit more active. When the calves and shins especially are active, that'll help us be safe in our knees. And then lift everything that you can up. In bow pose, keep pressing your feet into your hands and actively trying to lift your hands higher towards the sky. And then release everything down. Press back to child's pose, hips to your heels. From here, change to a seated position and stretch your legs straight out in front of you. Good. Come to sit as much in an L shape as possible. So from the crown of the head down to your hips, and then from the hips straight out to your heels. Sometimes my L has a little bend in the knees to get the full lift of the torso over the hips. That's a great way to find a variation in the pose that works for you. Let's all take both arms up to the sky. And then twist. Right arm back behind you, left arm in front. Now imagine, like you did in triangle pose, gonna push the hips back and the torso forward to try to make your left hand hold on to the outside edge of your right foot. And then lift the torso back to neutral, both arms up to the sky. And you do this to the second side as well. Twist. And then hinge. Take the right hand to the outside edge of the left foot. Look to the side or even back to keep enhancing that twist. Nicely done. Back up. And both hands to the sky. Lower the hands down on either side. And then do bend your knees enough that you can fold over and reach to the outside edges of your feet. Keeping hold of the outside edges of your feet, this is a funky one. Bring your right foot up like you're trying to talk to your foot. Up towards your ear. It's all this crunchy, weird position. And then set it back down. This is why I have a lot of bend in the knees. Do it to the other side. This, believe it or not, is a nice prep getting us towards crane pose. Crane is really all about the hips. Press the left leg back down, and then you can go to straighter legs. And do that again on the right leg, but it's just picking up with both hands, a little easier, and rock it from side to side here. Good. Keep the right knee as far back as possible. Take both hands to help. I'll keep switching my view here. So pulling back. And then lower the leg and give it a go on the second side. So again, we're just rocking. You can hold at the knee, hold at the foot, getting a little bit of space. And then both hands help to keep the foot back and the heel kind of up towards the sky. And then release and give it a little bit of a shake. Okay. If we're still sitting on the ground, but can you take your feet flat on either side? I'm literally just holding around here. And if you're looking down, your feet should be wider than your hips, okay? And then take your hands behind you. And can you lift your seat up away from the ground? Walk yourself in, so now you're in your squat. And change your weight. Usually we come from like up to down to get in the squat, and a lot of times we get caught somewhere in the middle. So just a different way of finding that. Okay, you stay there. I'm going to just shift my direction. You do want some length of your mat out in front of you here. Take your hands out like you're doing child's pose from your hands and that little fold over in the torso here. Now, lift your butt high enough and drag your hands back so you have a bend in the elbows here, that your knees happen to find a shelf in your upper arms. So rather than trying to pick anything up, it's just shifting body proportions around. So we're trying to shift the knees onto our upper arm bones and pick up one foot. And then set it down. Pick up one foot and set it down. One way I play with crane pose is to do that faster. 1, 1, 1, 1. Tap, 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 tap. And then maybe both tap and stay up. And then after all of that play, you go back to heels down, arms out in front of you like your squat with child's pose arms and upper back. Bring your hands to prayer hands. Lift your torso. Change your hands behind you. Have a seat. Hold the front of your shins in that seated squat. And then your feet go together for Baddha Konasana, bound angle. And again, like you're in child's pose, fold your torso over. Try to do less now. Start to soften the intention into a longer breath. More release in the muscle tone here. Relax the head. Stay with this position. And slowly build yourself upright, knees together, and shift so that you're lying all the way down onto your yoga mat with your knees into the chest. Give it a good squeeze here. Rock from side to side. Take the hands out to a T and move both knees over to the right for a twist. And take the knees across the center, let them fall to the left. And back into the middle. One last little thing here. Take the soles of the feet down onto the mat. Bring the hands to brush close to the heels. By no means does this need to be your biggest bridge pose ever, but press into the feet, shoulders, back of the head, lift your hips up. Squeeze in the glutes to feel strength on the back side of the body as you lift. And then we're going right back down. Cross the right ankle over the left thigh, figure four shape. Bring the hands to hold under your thigh or on top of the shin. Lower it down, switch sides. Very good. Place both feet back down. Do any last little unwinding movement that would feel nice to you. Find Shavasana. My energy creates my reality. How can you release in a way that sets you into this day? Whether you're lying back or finding a seat of meditation for these last couple of moments, in your mind's eye, take a quick glance through the body. Release and relax from the toes through your legs, the trunk of the body down the arms, and from the shoulders through the head. Ever so slightly, bring movement back to fingers and toes, attention to breath. And take your time to come back upright to a seated position if not already. As you find your seat, keep your eye gaze low or perhaps the eyes closed. Gather the palms together, the thumbs to the sternum. Once more, giving yourself an offering, a thanks, a gratitude for this practice. Knowing the ways in which it can help you carry on throughout this day. And I like to close in the sound of Om. It's a greeting into the next beginning. If you'd like to sing along, please do so. You can listen, you can tune it out. Full breath in and out first. So take a breath in and then let it go. And breathe in again. And again, in fullest gratitude to yourself, each other, this practice. Namaste.